Hey guys, welcome to another video. Before we start, a quick message from our sponsor, Raid Lipids VPN. Get 25% off of all lipids including fats, waxes, phospholipids, and steroids in the link below. Let's get into the components of a lipid. A reminder that a lipid does not form polymers, thus these components are not monomers. The first key component that you see here is the fatty acid tails. The fatty acid tails are really important for making up those saturated and unsaturated fats, as well as the phospholipids and waxes. Having a closer look at these fatty acid tails, we can see that there is a carboxyl group to the left end, a long chain of carbon with a bunch of hydrogen atoms attached to the carbon, and at the very end, a methyl group. Glycerol is the second key component in the lipids, and it is found in the saturated and unsaturated fats, as well as the phospholipids. We can see that there are 3 carbons in the middle, hydrogens that are surrounding it, and then 3 hydroxyl groups, each attached to each carbon. The last important component for lipids are those carbon rings, which are essential for steroids. This is an example of a fat. Fats are really good in storing lots of energy because the bonds between the hydrogen and the carbon in that long chain of carbon, each bond releases energy if that bond is broken, and because there are so many of those bonds in the fat, it can store a lot of energy. You can actually see the 2 different types of fatty acid tails in the diagram. The top 2 are saturated fats since they do not have double bonds in the long chain of carbon, while on the bottom fatty acid, there is a double bond in the chain of carbon. And this double bond causes the tail to kink. So how I remember them is saturated fats do not have any double bonds. Meanwhile, unsaturated fats are kinky. Phospholipids are another type of lipids. They consist of 2 fatty acid tails that are nonpolar and hydrophobic. One of the fatty acid tails is saturated, the other is unsaturated. These fatty acid tails are attached to a hydrophilic head that consists of a glycerol with a phosphate group. Hey, this is me from the future realizing that I forgot to clarify the reason why the tails are hydrophobic is because they are nonpolar, and the reason why the head is hydrophilic is because it is polar. Phospholipids are extremely important because they make up the phospholipid bilayer, which is a crucial part in the cell. The last category for lipids are steroids. Now, when most people think about steroids, they think about testosterone and getting as ripped as He-Man, but steroids can do many more things than just that. Based off of the molecules that are attached to the 4 carbon rings that it has, it can send off different chemical signals telling your body what to do. Now let's go over the real life applications of these lipids, as well as what would happen if a person didn't have them. Like previously mentioned, fats store long-term energy for organisms. Phospholipids are extremely important for the cell because it makes up the phospholipid bilayer, which the cell needs in order to function. And steroids are just very important in general for chemical signals, for growth, for the cell membrane because of cholesterol, and many other things. Now, if I haven't already convinced you that you should buy lipids, because obviously you should. Without lipids, you aren't able to store any long-term energy. you'll face constant hunger. Your cells will fail to function. You'll literally die. Fun facts. Lipids are nonpolar, therefore hydrophobic. They also make up the entire cell membrane. Remember to click the link below to support this channel. And remember, lipids, you need them in your life. Literally.